Welcome to SEC Network Women's Basketball, presented by Regions Official Bank of the SEC, and it is We Back Pat Week. We honor Pat Summitt, her never-ending impact on and off the court, and the #1 team in the country is on the court here at Memorial Gym, South Carolina in Nashville, to take on Vanderbilt. And it is great to have you with us with the Hall of Famer Tamika Catchings. I'm Eric Freed. I look forward to hearing from you about your former head coach and the impact that Pat Summitt had on you. Let's start with this game, though. South Carolina continues to roll, the defending national champions. So deep, but you like that 1-2 punch of Zia Cook and Aaliyah Boston especially.
Well, domination is one thing we can talk about. Aaliyah Boston is coming out and coming off another double-double. It definitely leading the team. She continues to dominate down low. Limited minutes, but comes in and takes care of business. 20 points, 10 rebounds in the last game. Zia Cook cannot say enough about how consistent she has been this year. The leading scorer right now for South Carolina, and her leadership, how she is playing ball right now. You see the numbers, 12.5, 50.3. These are the numbers from the game this past Sunday, and both players playing very, very well.
Vanderbilt was part of one of the most exciting finishes of the season in all of college basketball. Marnell Gerard helped get them there at Arkansas. She made 7 3-pointers. The last one here tied the game. However, there was still time left for Arkansas to push it down the court. Michaela Daniels beat the buzzer and beat Vanderbilt. Heartbreak for Vandy, but they did so many things well, especially in that fourth quarter, and Gerard's been excellent.
Well, Gerard, 31 points, 7 for 10. This is the second time this season that she has made 7 threes in a game, so we expect a great performance tonight. Vanderbilt, coming off that loss, still extremely positive and ready for this matchup.
The teams are on the floor. We are ready for Vanderbilt and #1 South Carolina. Victoria Sexton wins the opening tip, and we're underway with South Carolina in their road black. 18-0, 6-0 in the SEC. They have won 24 in a row. Needless to say, this will be a monumental challenge for Vanderbilt. We'll talk about how they plan on going about trying to keep Carolina in check. Bree Beal gets the first points of the game for South Carolina. The starting 5 for Vanderbilt, they dress 8 players, so we'll see everybody. These are the 5 that start. Kaja Harbison is the #2 scorer in the SEC. Gerard is hitting 42% on three-pointers. Sasha Washington, their leading rebounder. She will have her hands full tonight. That is a good start for Vanderbilt. They need to make threes to keep touch with South Carolina. The starting 5, very familiar with South Carolina. Cook, the leading scorer. Aaliyah Boston, the SEC Player of the Week. She's gone for 20 or more in her last 2 games.
Well, this is going to be a great matchup. You see right here, South Carolina gets their first turnover with the drive. Vanderbilt, like you said, is going to have their hands full with the South Carolina team, but they're not going to stop fighting for 40 minutes.
All right, that's key #1. They have to fight for the full 40 minutes. What are some of the things that Vandy needs to do on the court, schematically, technically, to hang in there with South Carolina?
Well, I think one of the things, what you said, the fight, but they got to keep South Carolina off the board to try to, South Carolina, one of their keys is to get points in the paint. Vanderbilt has to figure out a way to push South Carolina out, not allow them easy touches. They got to attack the basket. That's what they did down the stretch against Arkansas, against Tennessee as well. So I think those are 2 key areas, and then they have to take care of the ball.
Here is Boston for Zia Cook. You can see Washington and Boston already battling down on the block. We'll see how much they let them get away with when it comes to physical play. Zia Cook for 3. Washington went down, but Vandy got the rebound. They want to run off a miss. They won't stop that. Good fake on the drive by Jada Brown, but the freshman can't get it to go.
Aaliyah Boston comes over, gets that block, and anytime Aaliyah Boston comes around, she's going to offer the shot. So you got to be careful and not drive it too deep.
Kira Fletcher gets her first points, averaging 4 a game. The starter at the point since mid-November when South Carolina took on Clemson.
It's been interesting to watch Kira Fletcher over the last couple of years. Had an opportunity to talk to her for a little bit. She said, Coach wants me to be more aggressive, and So I like that look for her. I know that that's something that they want. They want to get her going to the basket and make it hard on whoever's guarding her.
That's a challenge for Bree Beal. Outstanding defender, but giving up size to Sasha Washington on the block, who gets her first two.
Watch Sasha Washington all game, and they're coming right back. Points in the paint going to be what South Carolina is going to be going for. Sasha Washington jogging up and down the court a little bit. I think this is going to be a matchup that we're going to watch. Her going against Boston is going to take a lot of energy on the defensive end, and they also need her to score.
On the drive, good defense by Fletcher, who gets the assignment on Harbison. Transition the other way, Bree Beal. Good defensive play by Aubrey-Ann Chambers, and it'll be Vanderbilt basketball. Dawn Staley, 15th season as South Carolina's head coach. Am I seeing what I think I see? Her drawstring on her hoodie game is even elite.
You like the puffs?
Like them. I mean,
we'll get you some for the next game.
I love
if you want.
them. Chambers got in deep. Fights on the glass. Great fight. That's a key word. Fight right there. Second chance here for Vanderbilt.
You're going to see that for 40 minutes tonight. Vanderbilt, I mean, even after the loss on Monday, they came out, they got right back to work. They know that they have a big matchup right now. Came in for shoot-around today, super positive. Get that first turnover, but still yet, I like the positivity. I like the way that they keep playing despite the loss.
Well, it starts right here. Shea Ralph, as Michaela Daniels and Arkansas were celebrating her buzzer beater, she recognized right away to be positive, to try to turn the page. That continued in practice this week, and certainly pregame here today after such a heartbreaking loss, just to remember the good things that they did against Arkansas, which is a very good team. You'll see them later tonight. This is game one of our doubleheader here on the SEC Network with LSU and Arkansas still to come. Chambers gets whistled for the foul.
Zaya Cook does a great job following her shot. She misses that, comes in, able to get the rebound, drives it in, get to the free throw line.
Here's Ryan Allen, freshman from the Philly area. And Zaya Cook steps to the line. Went for 16 against Mizzou. Just having an outstanding shooting season. 36% from outside the three-point line. 78% from the free throw line.
Playing with so much confidence. Had an opportunity to talk to her earlier as well. And that's the thing she said. I feel like this year has been different just because of the confidence. And I asked her about last year. I'm like, did you not feel the confidence? She said it's different this year. Having to step up, having to be a leader with Aaliyah. Things are just different.
She struggled to shoot last year, really. 34% from the field a season ago. 29% on threes. Defense, South Carolina, elite defensive team. Cook can't get the drive to go, and it's one and done. Gerard defended at half court, last touch by Bree Beal, and that will get us to our media timeout. It is the start of We Back Pat Week. When we come back, Tamika will share some memories and we'll tell you about another part of Pat's legacy. That is next.
Has won the national championship.
34 plus seasons, 1,000 career wins.
History happened here.
Pat Summitt and Destiny have met.
Her eyes, her intensity, her strength will always be remembered.
No matter how much success you have in life, that doesn't make you a bigger or a better person than anyone else. And all I want to do, because of the position I have, is somehow help other people.
Well, the legacy lives on. The Pat Summitt Foundation, founded November of 2011. Millions donated for Alzheimer's research, memory care. I mean, there's so many living with Alzheimer's and dementia and families are so impacted. So the Pat Summitt Foundation helping those suffering and those who are helping those suffering. It's just so great to hear you. I know it continues. Part of her legacy is what she has meant to you going forward and everything you do in your life, not just as a Hall of Fame basketball player for the Tennessee Lady Vols when you played for her back in the day.
Well, I think that's exactly what it is. It's not just about what happens on the court. It's the life beyond the court. And Pat's legacy and why we celebrate, why we have We Back Pat Week, and why you see all the players with the shirts and all of that. Her legacy is beyond the game of basketball. And for me personally, having the experience to go to University of Tennessee and having a coach like her, she instilled so many values. But I think the one big value is like being able to give of yourself. I think that's consistent, and hopefully that's consistent in the way that I live.
Good drive, take to the basket by Gerard to pull Vandy within one. I could ask you just an open-ended question. How did she change your life? But we only have 2 hours for this game, so we'll have you sprinkle in some of those things as we go along here tonight, Catch. That would be wonderful. It's great to be with you here in Tennessee, in Nashville, down the road from Knoxville. Turnover by South Carolina, so a good start here in the first quarter for Vanderbilt, hanging tough with South Carolina.
Saxon trying to get the ball in to Aaliyah Boston. She hasn't had many touches down low, and definitely we all know when she gets the ball, she attracts 2, maybe 3 players at times, so kind of hard to get her the ball in a scoring position.
Bella chance into the game for Vanderbilt. Letitia Amihir is on for South Carolina on the back cut. Beautiful take and a finish by Gerard.
So Gerard continues to keep taking the ball to the basket. Vanderbilt doing a great job loosening up the floor, making South Carolina have to defend outside.
Here's Amihir back out to Boston. Zaya Cook will try it from mid-range and knock it down.
For that pick and roll game between those 2 players, it's hard to defend because who are you going to help off of? You're always going to send 2 players with the Aaliyah Boston. Zaya Cook gets a wide open look at the floor.
On the crossover, trying to get around to me here is Gerard. Ball's on the deck, and LaChance was fouled. Leah Boston helping her up as Bella LaChance draws the contact. Here comes Camila Cardoso into the game. Saxton will check out. Amihir picks up her first. I mean, you're going to see Kaija Harbison and Marnell Gerard on the court all game long. They are number 1 and 2 in minutes per game in the SEC.
Well, I think with this matchup, Coach Ralph's going to be really smart as far as getting them in and out.
Oh, look at Chambers getting on the offensive glass. Yeah, you got to be in there. Stick your nose in there. Yabrion Chambers averaging 5 rebounds a game. Possession arrow will keep it with Vandy.
The word is fight. You will see that all night. We will talk about it all night. Vanderbilt came in the shoot-around today. They were excited about this matchup, excited about an opportunity, especially coming off the game on Monday.
They've had a couple of good looks from the outside. Boston can't control it, but controlled it just enough to get it to Fletcher. Fletcher to the trailer. Good touch. The feed inside to Cardoso.
And one of the things you'll look at tonight is as South Carolina continues to put subs in there and continues to put different matchups in there, Vanderbilt is really small compared to the South Carolina team. And so Cardoso, I mean, when she gets in the game, you just have to throw the ball up and she will go get it.
Off the miss, Fletcher will push it to Amihir. And a whistle and a foul underneath on Vanderbilt. Well, by now you know the Vanderbilt story, how shorthanded they are. Jordan Cambridge, grad student, out for the year, an Achilles injury. Defensive lockdown player, led the country in steals last year. Ayanna Moore out for the season, ACL. SEC All-Freshman last year, top returning scorer. Kaylin Smith is out. Amari Williams in the transfer portal. I mean, they are just dressing 8 right now, so you can't afford a lot of whistles and fouls because you just don't have the depth.
Well, you got to play smart, and if you get behind like that, Chambers does a great job. You can't afford to foul Aaliyah Boston on her back. You just got to allow her to score, and those are possessions that you want to go all out and you want to make the defensive move, but you got to be smart, and I think that's the big thing for them.
That was a great example right there, or at that moment as Chambers pulled back, knowing you just can't give a silly foul. They need her size, her rebounding ability here today. But against the South Carolina team that is plus 20 in rebounding margin. That's second in Division I.
Yeah, but I think that makes you a smarter player. You know, you got to be able to play like that regardless if you have 8, 10, 12, your whole bench. You want to be a smart player. If you don't have that play, that does not make any sense to foul.
Cardoso comes up empty. Really good defensive play by Boston on the other end, but South Carolina can't turn it into points. And a double dribble and a turnover for Vanderbilt.
I want to go back to what you said about limited numbers. When we had a chance to talk to Coach Ralph, she said, you know what? We continue to talk about it, or other people rather talk about it, but we control the controllables. We can't control how many players we have, but with the 8 players that we do have, everybody knows they're going to play. Everybody knows they're going to have an opportunity to get in the game, and that's the most important thing.
Leah Boston checks out. Raven Johnson, who checked in the previous whistle, running the point now. She's playing with a ton of confidence right now. Ami here. Ashlyn Watkins in the game. That won't drop. Cardoso comes away, and she'll put it in this time.
Basket is good by number 10.
South Carolina still trying to figure out how to get the ball down low a little bit easier. Cardoso does a great job getting that rebound.
8-0 run for South Carolina. Cardoso just using that size to pull it away. Johnson showing that speed to score on the other end.
Great pass, great heads-up look. 4 seconds to go. Oh, Raven Johnson gets called for that foul. Terrible foul in the backcourt. Unnecessary.
It's just the second foul, though, on South Carolina. So with 2.8 seconds to go, no free throws here for the Commodores. And it's Cardoso and then just Raven Johnson, full speed. And the feed to Watkins.
South Carolina 18, Vanderbilt 9.
So Vanderbilt put it into play, and that's the end of the quarter. A 10-0 run for South Carolina to close out quarter number 1. We're at Memorial Gym in Nashville. We back Pats. And it's South Carolina on top after 1. South Carolina on a 10-0 run to go on top of Vanderbilt 18-9 at the end of 1 quarter. We know that there is a depth advantage for South Carolina. There's also a height advantage for South Carolina against most teams they play, but certainly that's the case here tonight.
Well, you look at the numbers right here and the sizes. I mean, you can see it when you're here in person, but when you actually look at this number and then you see them on the floor, Vanderbilt knew coming into this game, tallest player off the bench, you see it right there, 6'1", their tallest player, Sasha Washington at 6'2". Then you get to Carolina and you look at all those numbers. The height difference, like you said, is there. The depth and what they have, or maybe rather don't have on the bench standpoint is there, but yet it doesn't go away from what the heart and the tenacity and the intensity that the Vanderbilt team has, and that the way that they're playing right now as a team.
And then you've got Camila Cardoso at 6'7", who's ready to put it into play for South Carolina on cue to kind of underscore the size advantage.
So that's what I said earlier in the first quarter, is to just throw the ball up and let her go get it. You'd rather the ball go out of bounds when you're trying to attempt the ball, making a pass inside like that. You'd rather go out of bounds than get a turnover, a live ball turnover.
Debbie Washington on the floor for Vanderbilt as we start quarter number 2. As Johnson will put it into play. Ami here. Bree Hall in the game for South Carolina. Hall with 6 to shoot. LaChance goes down. The shot is no good. Down goes LaChance again as Watkins ran into her. They play on.
Well, I like both teams playing a little bit physical.
And Ami here with the clean block. This is a shot blocking team, #1 in Division I, averaging just under 10 blocks a game.
Well, that goes with the height and how they play defense. They do a great job of helping each other on the defensive end. When a player gets beat, they're always closing in. And, I mean, you got the trees. When you're going in against the trees, you got to figure out at what point do you pull up and shoot the ball.
Johnson with the steal. Here comes Carolina in transition again.
Look at how low all 5 Vanderbilt players are. They are all stacked in the paint.
It is a familiar look that we see when teams take on South Carolina and Aaliyah Boston. And Boston's on the bench right now, and it continues here with that size that comes in off the bench. So part of the game plan for Vanderbilt certainly is let South Carolina try to beat them from outside.
Well, and that's part of the game plan for South Carolina. Get the ball inside and try to get point paint. So love Vanderbilt, how they're playing right now. Just everybody got at least 1 foot in the paint.
Harbison. Gerard back to Sasha Washington. Good job by me here. Defensively, here's Jada Brown. Johnson. Ami here. Wants to go up with it. Demi Washington knocks it away. Good defensive play. And here comes Harbison back the other way in transition on the pull-up. Touched by South Carolina as Cardoso and Watkins were there. So Vandy ball.
Yeah, I like the pace of the game thus far. Both teams really competing hard. Obviously, Vanderbilt a little bit undersized, but doesn't take anything away from how they're playing. They've gotten a few really good looks. That last one, Jada shot the ball a little bit too fast.
Pass is knocked away. And the run continues for South Carolina.
Raven Johnson just so good. When she's in that open floor, got a great look on the left side.
6 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists last time out for South Carolina. That was again a win against Mizzou Sunday at home. So 2-point game after one, but then South Carolina outscored Mizzou 50-20 in the middle 2 quarters. Mizzou had 22 total rebounds. South Carolina had 23 offensive rebounds alone. Just to give you an idea how they dominate. Timeout is being called here. 7.5 to go in the second quarter. South Carolina putting the clamps on Vandy at the moment, on top by 11. All right, Alyssa, thanks very much. Here are the numbers so far. South Carolina closed the first quarter in a 10-0 run. Still no scoring for Kaja Harbison, the leading scorer for Vanderbilt, number 2 in the SEC at 19 points a game. She's gone for 30 or more 2 times this season. Dawn Staley's team playing some solid defense as always, holding Vanderbilt to 4 of 17 from the field so far. As they pointed out in the studio, though, the rebound margin is just a +2 right now for South Carolina. So Vandy's hanging in there in that category, but they're having trouble hanging in on the scoreboard right now.
Well, I think Vandy, when you look at the shots that they've taken, they have actually taken some high percentage shots, which Coach Ralph talked about. We need high percentage shots. I think some of it is screening a little bit more, spacing the floor a little bit more. They are a great 3-point shooting team. They have a few players that can really shoot the ball well. So those are the ones that you got to make sure get involved in the offense, space the floor, and allow those opportunities.
Leah Boston back into the game. Boston spinning it in on the baseline.
Boston has probably seen every single defensive positioning that you can, straight up, up front, behind, 2 people on her, 3 people on her. I think at one point I've seen 4 people defending her, so there's a whole bunch that's going on. But Aaliyah Boston continues to move, continue to work.
Johnson over to Cook. Cook comes up short on the floater. Watkins with a good save and a second chance here, but then Cook has it knocked out of her hands. It will remain South Carolina basketball. It's a 14-0 run right now for South Carolina. Well, coming up next, Angel Reese, 3rd-ranked LSU, set to take on Arkansas in Baton Rouge. You'll see it right here on the SEC Network. Also on the ESPN app, game number 2 of our Thursday night doubleheader. LSU has won 18 in a row, which is a program record. Arkansas coming off that win against Vanderbilt, as that one won't drop in. They've won 4 in a row since their loss to LSU. So Arkansas drawing LSU twice in the early going this season.
Teams first.
Washington in, Allen out for Vanderbilt. There is Chloe Kitts into the game for the first time as Bree Hall will head to the bench.
Well, this is what you'll see for South Carolina. You'll see a lot of rotation because they, A, have the depth to do that, but B, minutes-wise, Coach Daly done a great job of just really playing players. They're going to get what they want or what she expects them to get. Raven Johnson able to knock down that shot, but that's what she said. She said the players that go in, they're going to get their points, they're going to get their rebounds, they're going to be able to perform in the minutes that they have. It's up to them really to take advantage of it. And thus far, you've seen South Carolina take advantage of every opportunity.
Vanderbilt on a long drought. Their last field goal came with 4:22 to go in the first quarter.
Vanderbilt, yet another miss right there, trying to get the ball down low, and it's like with the trees down there, you almost have to be a little bit careful. What I said before, space the floor, the drives and kick game is probably the better way to go.
Or how about the miss the shot but get the offensive rebound game for Ashley Watkins. Finally, the run ends and the drought ends. Jada Brown knocks it down 4-3. It was an 18-0 run for South Carolina.
Much needed shot right there, right at the right time, and Aaliyah Boston getting the double, triple team and still able to finish.
I mean, 3's not enough. We need the quadruple team, the quintuple team. Just showing off my vocabulary. You do not want to play me in Scrabble. I know there are not enough letters in a turn to pull off quintuple or quadruple, let alone say it in this case. Quickly back the other way as South Carolina gets it right back with Zia Cook.
Let's get good by number 1.
3-pointer off the mark and then batted out of bounds by Vandy's Chambers. It'll be South Carolina ball. Bree Beal, Victoria Saxton, 2 of the original starters come back into the game. So that's the South Carolina mojo. They will just keep bringing the bodies in and they will extend that lead even with those bench players. They are down 2 players today. Talasia Cooper suffered an injury in practice this week, so she's day-to-day, and Sanaya Fagan has missed the last 4 games if you include today's game. Dawn Staley said she would not play here today. Hope to have her back for Sunday's game against Arkansas.
Well, that's what Sanaya said her expectation was.
Good clarification, yes.
Coach said she will be back when the trainer says she will be back.
That's right. Thank you for clearing that up. Overall, the hope is she'll be back on Sunday, but it won't be Sanaya's call. That's over the outstretched arm of Johnson as Boston goes back. There was no touch in the front court, so no violation. Bree Beal just inside the 3-point line, knocks it in.
I like the confidence that Bree Beal is playing with. She came in and just stepped right into that shot. We talked about it all afternoon, just from the defensive standpoint, what type of a player she is. And normally you see her, whoever the best offensive player is, because she's just so good at being able to move her feet.
We talked with Bree shoot around today about, well, what parts of your game are you looking to expand? And it's just being a well-rounded player. We just saw her knock down that long two, showing I'm an offensive player. She had 6 assists last game, so that was a little piece of her game that we haven't seen a ton of. It's not just the defense, as Fletcher will come into the game for Johnson.
Well, I think the ability, when you look at the players, not just the starting five, but when you look at the bench and all of these players rotating in, you get an opportunity to play against so many different defenses, but also like to play with different players and set other players up. So whether I get the shot or I'm setting my teammate up to get the shot, and I know you have the opportunity to make it, you have the capability, hopefully, Eric, that you will make the shot when I pass it to you, but I think she understands just how good this team is and being able to move and pass the ball.
Not only will I take the shot, I'll make the shot.
You better. Don't mess up my assist.
I wouldn't think of it. Johnson can't get it. Boston tried to grab it. Tracked down by Saxton. Second chance here. Back out to Beal. Here is Beal on the drive. A little too strong, though, but that's no problem for Aaliyah Boston to clean up. The offensive rebounds piling up for South Carolina.
Yeah, points in the paint right now. South Carolina 22, Vandy with 8.
LaChance. Back out for Jada Brown. Brown will try it, can't get it, and Fletcher's got the rebound. On the wing to Kitts. Skip it to Beal.
Yeah, that's just the way to play right here. Move the ball around, get it inside, Chloe.
Saxton scores for South Carolina. Great balance again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different scores for South Carolina. And you see the points in the paint. 24-8 in favor of South Carolina. And a block by Fletcher.
Yeah, Kiera Fletcher, that's her second block so far this game, and just doing a great job on the defensive end, all the way in, not able to finish, but Saxton.
Another offensive rebound and a timeout called by Vanderbilt. South Carolina dominating on the glass right now, stretching the lead out to 23 with 2:20 to go in the second quarter. Really, for South Carolina under Dawn Staley, it starts with defense, Tamika. It starts on the defensive end, and they've been getting it done with the block shots all season long.
Well, 5 block shots tonight, and you see right there, when you go in there with the trees down low, you have got to be ready to pull up strong and go up. But South Carolina is just so good at using their length, their size, getting the ball, not coming down and coming into your body, but getting the ball out of the air. And to be honest, that is something that has to be practiced. Like, it does not just happen. You have to practice that. South Carolina just doing a great job of playing defense, trying to keep the players in front, but getting the ball out of the air.
5 blocks in the first half so far for South Carolina. As I mentioned before, they lead Division I, averaging 9.7 blocks a game. Last year they led Division I with 7.4, so they've gone up 2.5 on average compared to a year ago. So they are a better shot blocking team at this point than they were last year.
Well, look at the maturity. Look at the experience that they have. Kiera Fletcher herself has 2, and she wasn't with this team last year, and this is something that they've added. Their young players now stepping up, growing another year, having another opportunity. I mean, Aaliyah Boston, Zaire Cook, like you think about the leadership of this team, everybody has developed.
Maybe an underappreciated part of Kiera Fletcher is her defensive assignment here today. Kaja Harbison, the leading scorer. Fletcher drawing the assignment there. And now another turnover. Saxton for Fletcher.
Look at South Carolina. Look at the way they move the ball. Look at how they play now. Of course, that's a turnover right there, but always looking at trying to get the ball down low.
Good job by Chambers on the defensive end. Demi Washington on the offensive glass. Rebound for Bree Hall. You just get used to, as you watch South Carolina through the course of the season, just the different combinations they throw on the floor as Bree Beal knocks down the three-pointer. And they've got Boston on the bench right now. You've got Hall and Saxton, Cardoso, Beal, and Fletcher, the 5 on the floor.
Well, you said it earlier, just even with Beal, now it's sitting with 7 points, but we saw her with the long 2. We saw her down low. She just knocked down a 3. We've consistently in previous years talked about her defense. but now she's starting to show her offense production as well.
Cardoso gets called for the foul on the drive by Demi Washington.
Fouls on number 10. Camila Cardoso, that is her first.
That's the first personal on Cardoso, as Marnell Girard will come back onto the floor. Sasha Washington into the game for Vandy as well.
Demi Washington.
And Demi Washington will shoot 2. Men's Hoop Tuesday on the SEC Network. Vandy men part of the doubleheader on Tuesday night. They'll host Oscar Shibwe and Kentucky. That's at 9 Eastern, 8 Central right here at Memorial Gym. And that's on Tuesday. Vandy, very good free throw shooting team. Number 2 in the SEC at 73%.
And Demi Washington stepped up to the line, knocks down those 2s.
South Carolina shooting 56% for the game, 58% in this quarter, and that number will go up.
Underestimate Kiara Fletcher, what she brings, defense, offense. We've watched her over the course of the last couple of years with Georgia Tech, now coming over to South Carolina. Just such a great addition, leadership-wise, and what she's able and capable to do on the floor.
Washington, the entry to Sasha Washington. Harbison, a rare open look for her. Still looking for her first points. Now 0 for 8 from the field as South Carolina has made it their mission to neutralize the leading scorer for Vanderbilt. Fletcher, strong drive for 2. And a traveling violation. So a chance here with half a second to go for South Carolina. Get something quick. Half the team was getting ready to go to the locker room. But there's still time. Aaliyah Boston will come into the game.
Probably try to get a quick touch down low to Aaliyah Boston, work on some of your offensive plays.
There is enough time for a catch and shoot. You need 0.4 on the clock for a catch and shoot. So it doesn't have to be a tip here for South Carolina, but it has to be quick. Cardoso's got to launch it, and they say it comes after. It wasn't quick enough. Camilla, she's jogging off the court, like kind of laughing at the bench. They're laughing with her, like, yeah, that wouldn't have been the first choice when it came to quick release. South Carolina dominant here in Nashville at halftime. To the studio we go. Welcome back to SEC Network Women's Basketball, presented by Regions, official bank of the SEC. Just about ready to start the third quarter here at Memorial Gym. Nashville, Tennessee, number 1, South Carolina up by 28 at halftime. Eric Freed, Hall of Famer Tamika Catchings back with you here in Nashville. As expected, a dominant performance by South Carolina when it comes to looking in the paint. They were unstoppable.
Definitely unstoppable. You think about every single player getting 2 feet in the paint, scoring. Look at all the players. Everybody's going down. That was one of the keys of the game. As Coach said, we are going to attack the paint. We have the size advantage. We're going to try to find ways, the high-low, the drive-in, whatever it takes.
Vanderbilt needs to get going from the outside. It was a good first half for Marnell Girard. She led the way for Vanderbilt with 9 points, but they were not very effective from outside the three-point line. Just 2 for 9. And you see the paint advantage for Aaliyah Boston and South Carolina. Plus 22 when it came to points in the paint. They were plus 14 in rebounding margin. Boston with 8 points, 5 rebounds, an assist, and a block in the first half.
Boston continued to show that she's not just a one-dimensional player down low. She can do it all inside, outside, gets the rebound, yet another one. Shooting for another double-double for tonight.
Just made it very difficult for Sasha Washington, who's a very good post player, to get off a good shot. Here's Zaya Cook. Cook had 6 in the first half. Fletcher had 8. She's got it looking inside for Boston, who turns to face and score. So pretty. Aaliyah Boston into double figures again. She's got 10.
Well, such a smart play right there, too. I mean, you could have backed it down with the height advantage, back down, but why continue to have that beating down low, take the space that's given, and she's really good at knocking down those shots.
Another rebound for Boston. That's number 7, so 3 away from another double-double. And Beal's going to get called for the offensive foul. Contact taken by Gerard.
Great job, Gerard, finding and getting her feet to the spot before Bill could go. She does a great job of just getting there. I think Vanderbilt, they just got to get more defensive possessions like this, but then they have to convert on the offensive end.
Got to try to find a way to get Harbison going. 0 for 8 from the field. She did get 1 point on a free throw in the first half. Came in averaging 19 points a game. Fletcher D'ing her up again. And here goes Harbison downhill, and there is her first field goal.
Right on cue. She must have heard you, Eric, but great job getting that screen. Kira Fletcher, she gets Kira on her back.
I don't think she heard me. I think it was Shea Ralph and the coaching staff saying in the locker room at halftime, can we get our leading scorer involved here? Cook for 3.
Zaya Cook gets wide open. Aaliyah Boston set that screen. And I mention that just more so because if you think about what Aaliyah Boston is capable of doing, it's not just the scoring and the defense. She set screens that get her teammate wide open. Zaya Cook gets a really good look.
Fletcher got a hand in there, but also got a little bit of the arm and the ball, so a foul is called on Fletcher. That's her first. I'm going to put you on the spot here. We had a shot at Dawn Staley earlier. Even though her team had built up a big lead, as Harbison defended well by Fletcher. You know Dawn. You played with Dawn. She was a coach on the coaching staff at Team USA. You know Dawn very well. She's a perfectionist. She wants the very best. What are the areas that she looks at, or you think she looks at and says, this needs to be better? And I just remind you, we're talking about a team that won the national championship last year. They have not lost since last year. So in what areas do you look at South Carolina and said, that needs to be a little better? Because you can just tell by Dawn's look sometimes that it's still not good enough.
Well, I think just maintaining the consistency, this is also something that Zaya Cook talked about, is sometimes we let our foot off the gas. And I think if you're Dawn and what you're trying to accomplish, trying to get yet another national championship, every single possession matters. I want it to be right every single time down. And I think, we had an opportunity to talk to her SID and just talking about how disciplined she is and just the way she lives her life. So I can only imagine just the discipline
That's Aaliyah Boston.
Like, I can only imagine how disciplined it is with the players and her expectations and what she wants from them.
Here's Bella LaChance into the game for Vandy.
Vanderbilt's got to get some movement. They got to move the ball, set some screen, get open looks.
Harbison, good feed down to Washington. Couldn't get it to drop. One and done, and a rebound comes out to South Carolina. Beal. And a blocking foul is going to be called on LaChance.
Yeah, Bella LaChance got there a little bit too late, but I think when Bree Beal got the ball, I already knew she was going all the way to the basket.
So that's the first foul on LaChance. And here is Bree Beal heading to the free throw line. Another one coming tomorrow. Our gymnastics doubleheader starts with 12th-ranked Missouri taking on 13th-ranked LSU in Baton Rouge. That's at 7 Eastern, 6 Central. Then SUNY Lee and Auburn taking on Arkansas. Friday Night Heights every week right here on the SEC Network and also on the ESPN app. Nine points now for Bree Beal. Aaliyah Boston leading the way with 12. Washington scores against Boston.
Well, great patience on that time down. Sasha Washington last time, I feel like she just moved the ball a little bit too fast, tried to hurry up and get the ball up, and that'll be a foul that'll get called on Ryan.
Ryan Allen gets whistled for the foul. That's her third personal. Back outside Beal. Saxton and LaChance.
Had no chance.
Well played, Catch. Well played.
Yeah, Bella LaChance hanging out her arm a little bit. Aaliyah Boston. Okay.
Bella LaChance is 5'6". You flip it around for Aaliyah Boston, who's 6'5". Cook can't get it.
Fouls on 21, Bella LaChance. That is her third.
Bella's piling up the fouls right now. That's 3.
Is now in the bonus.
Bella's even got a little smile. It's like, by the way, the guy sitting over there in the nice suit just said I'm 5'6". Just reminding you I can use a little help over here.
Well, that Zaya Cook is coming through the lane. Bella LaChance trying to get her hands on it.
Cook is at the line.
Zaya Cook, Tamika was talking about how she's elevated her game this season in SEC play, averaging just under 18 points a game, which is 3 points better than her season average. And now Cook digging in on defense against LaChance. LaChance took it underneath. Allen's got half a step, but Victoria Saxton, crafty veteran, 4-year captain for this South Carolina team, gets the block.
And I think that's an area, I mean, you look at South Carolina, we had the clips early on in the first half. They had 5 blocks, but they're just so good. They used their length really well. Saxton never gave up on the play. Aaliyah Boston down low again, and Ryan Allen tries to step up.
10 assists for South Carolina as a team. That won't drop, but a trip to the free throw line as Boston gets called for the personal foul. That'll be your second personal foul. Now we've seen a steady stream of subs here for Vanderbilt coming in and out. This 5, get the feeling with Dawn Staley, letting them ride here at the start of the half, just let them work, mesh, make it click together with their team up big here in the third quarter, and then probably sit them down. I mean, when you look at the numbers, the minutes for South Carolina, they've got 13 players averaging at least 10 minutes a game, and no one averages more than 25 minutes a game.
Well, I think, too, part of it, I mean, we talked to Coach Staley. She said, I'm trying to keep my team healthy. So when you look at the minutes and you look at the first half, you saw a lot of substitutions. You're right as far as letting them play a little bit, get the rhythm, and then pull them and put the second group in. And I wouldn't even say second group, because when you look at their team, you look from 1 to 15, probably every single one of those players could start somewhere.
South Carolina, great ball movement. Got Cook a good look, just wouldn't drop. But they're fighting. They won't check the scoreboard. They'll keep working hard. And a tie-up will get us to a timeout here in the third quarter. Number 1, South Carolina rolling at Nashville.
It's a media timeout.
Welcome back to Nashville. We back Pat as we continue to honor Pat Summitt, her legacy, which includes the Pat Summitt Foundation, and there is a strong Vanderbilt connection. Marcia Lake is Shay Ralph's mom, who was a teammate, Marcia was, of Pat Summitt at the World University Games, but lifelong friends, worked together at the camp, and this is what she had to say. As a player, Pat was extremely competitive and an obvious leader. As a coach, she was exactly the same. I am so proud to have known and played with a woman who had such a profound impact on the game. Now, I must say right now, if we can go back to that shot, Marcia is playing defense right now because the cute young woman who has been on the go is Mason. That's Shay's daughter with Tom Garrick there. Oh no, there's a quiet. Oh, Marcia's got the magic touch right now because Mason is just really chill right now.
Well, right now, because we saw her before the game and she was all over the place. At one point, I thought I was going to have to get out and try to rein her in because poor Marcia was trying to chase her. We can't have Marcia doing that.
So just to tie it all together, because Marcia, of course, as a friend of Pat said, hey, Pat, I know we're friends, but I have my daughter is a good player.
At 8 years old.
8 going on 9 years old. And Pat was like, well, it's a little young, but for you, come on out to my camp in Knoxville, a camp that you worked so many times as a player, and come on out to our camp in Knoxville and Let me see. Well, by the end of that camp, little 9-year-old Shea Ralph had moved up a couple of levels. She was so good and so determined that Coach Summitt pulled up a chair real close to watch Shea play, and that was the first connection for Shea Ralph and Pat Summitt. Now, that connection would continue when it came to the recruitment of Shea Ralph, because Tennessee, obviously, as Zia Cook scores, Tennessee was very interested in having Shea come to Knoxville. Instead, Shea Ralph went to none other than UConn. Tamika almost fainted right here when I told that part of the story. But one thing that Shea Ralph pointed out to us today was one of the things that stood out the most, as Gerard can't knock it down, was when Shea called Pat to say, I'm going to UConn, our travel UConn. What did she say about how Pat Summitt handled it? Didn't hang up the phone on her.
She said she handled it with grace. She said, I feel like Pat Summitt has been an incredible woman, and I think that's something that we could all say. Zia Cook knocked down the three. Now, Pat and her legacy, and it's not just the players that have gone to the University of Tennessee. It's cool for me, too, like to hear stories like that. When Shea was talking about, she said, I went to a lot of different camps and clinics, and able to get there. Hudson finally able to get another shot, but Zia Cook, South Carolina, quick to bring it up the court.
You love hearing the stories. We heard at the very top of the show, you tell stories, and you've got plenty of stories to tell, and we look forward to hearing those over the next week for We Back Pat. But you love hearing them as well, because it probably takes you back to your days as an All-American at Tennessee.
Well, I just love hearing stories of great women. I mean, Pat was obviously her legacy with basketball, her legacy for the women's game. Aaliyah Boston continues to dominate down low, but her legacy in this game and why we celebrate We Back Pat and the Pat Summitt Clinic, and at the University of Tennessee, there's just so many different things that are being built, and I love hearing those stories.
Demi Washington knocks it down from the outside. On the other end, Aaliyah Boston now with 16 points and 10 rebounds. She is a perfect 8 for 8 from the field. Her 12th double-double, the 72nd double-double of her great career at South Carolina. Ooh, we're going back in the archives here. This is good. This is Shea Ralph against Tamika Catchings. Oh, my favorite part.
Shut it down now, people.
Of course, Shea committed to UConn and had a great career at Connecticut. I mean, she battled. Your career ended early at Tennessee because of a knee injury. I think Shea lost count of the number of knee injuries she had at Connecticut. You two have that in common. You have that ferocity that you had in common as players going head-to-head. Bree Beal trying to get the rebound, and she gets called for the foul. So Aaliyah Boston heads to the bench. Oh man, we are going way deep. The head-to-head between.
Heads to the bench, and my goodness!
Did you want to talk about the weather? Did you want to talk about the music you liked in Nashville, or would you like to talk about this graphic right here?
Well, South Carolina gets it back.
You just answered my question. Why don't you do play-by-play? I'll analyze that graphic. Here's LaChance looking for the entry to Sasha Washington, and Cardoso gets called for the foul, and Sasha Washington will go to the free throw line to shoot a couple inside of 2 to go.
That was on number 10.
Camilla's wondering.
Cardoso, that is her second.
Cardoso, all she has to really do is allow Sasha Washington to get around her and put your hands straight up. Try to get the ball out of the air.
That rattles out. Reminder, men's basketball on Tuesday will feature the Commodores. They'll be here at Memorial Gym to take on Kentucky. That's 9 o'clock Eastern time, 8 o'clock Central, part of our Tuesday night doubleheader on the SEC Network.
And that's what we're talking about right here. Put your foot on the gas, keep your foot on the gas. South Carolina continues to run the floor. They're not walking the ball up. They're not trying to get in the half-court offense, really trying to stay in the flow.
Pass intended for Ami here, who was fouled. Well, they have outscored Vanderbilt 24-9 here in the third quarter. They outscored Vandy 18-9 in the first, 27-8 in the second, and it does have that feeling, as we talked about with that starting five coming out of the locker room, that back to what you talked about, what is Dawn Staley looking for? Did it feel like they were keeping that foot down on the gas and trying to just play just the right way, play together, be connected before coming out of the game?
Well, it's interesting. I listened to the press conference, and a lot of the questions that are getting fielded at Dawn is like, oh, you guys started slow. You guys started slow in this game and that game. And at one point she said, did we really start that slow? So I can only imagine what she has gone back and said to this team. And you look at it, I mean, 18-9 in the first quarter, and maybe the first, second possession, they didn't get the score. Vandy able to score. Sasha Washington get that score right there. But I do feel like as the game wears on, I mean, every single lineup they put out there is different, but it gives them an opportunity to play a lot of different styles within one game.
That was on number 12, Demi Washington.
Demi Washington gets called for the foul. That is 3 on her, as Amihir will go to the free throw line.
Letitia Amihir. 2 shots.
So of the original starting five, Beal the only one still on the court. As Amihir steps to the line. Three points for Amihir, averaging 7 a game in 17 minutes a game. LaChance, who has done all she can amongst the trees. Good scramble, good fight by Bella to try to keep it alive.
Yeah, Bella not giving up on that play, and that's what you like to see. I know Coach Ralph, you know, she's like, we need to look at every single possession. And I asked her at one point, do you ever play the score? And she said, no, we try to, I mean, if you take care of business and you play every single possession the way it needs to, you hope that by the time you get to the end of the game that those possessions have added up to win. But I think at this point right now, every single possession and ways to get better. That's what she said. I want us to focus on how do we get better.
9 points, 2 blocks for Bree Beal as she checks out. Sasha Washington on the offensive glass. Watkins into the game for South Carolina. Shot clock down to 4 for Vandy. Washington showing no fear, gets knocked down, and now Johnson on the push. To Cardoso on the trail, and she'll go to the free throw line.
South Carolina always on the run. Sasha Washington, when she got knocked down, nobody guarding Cardoso, and she comes straight down.
To the line, number 10. Camila Cardoso.
Ryan Allen into the game as Demi Washington checks out. So here is Camilla, number 3 on the team in the scoring. Very balanced scoring for South Carolina, of course, just under 10 points a game. Top 10 in the SEC in rebounding.
Able to finish at the line right here, and that would probably be another area, the free throw line. They're getting to the free throw line and getting these opportunities, but making sure that they're making all of their free throws or try to stay 80, 90%.
That was on number 15, Letitia
Amihir picks up the personal. Final minute of the third quarter. Reminder, this is game 1 of 2 tonight on the SEC Network. Still to come, LSU, winners of 18 in a row.
Line number 14,
18-0 overall, 6-0 in the SEC. South Carolina also 18-0 and 6-0 in the SEC entering play tonight. LSU up to number 3 in the country. Last time they were ranked that high was 2007.
Yeah, I think Coach Mulkey is on a mission this year, and definitely looking at Angel Reese, the way she's been playing, Flaugier, I mean, just the team overall doing a lot of great things. Had an opportunity to do their game a couple of weeks ago.
First points of the second half for Gerard come at the free throw line. She's got 11, the only player for Vandy in double figures. Johnson inside to Amihir, rejected by Sasha Washington. Guess who's after it? Bella LaChance. Bella LaChance still working for it. And it will be Vandy basketball. Down to 2, down to 1. A me here there defensively for South Carolina. And that will bring us to the end of the third quarter. Carolina, number 1 in the country, getting it done on both ends, up 44, heading to quarter 4. All right, let's go into the Wayback Machine. The way back machine. Look over on the right there. I know who that is over on the right. That's Dawn Staley, and in the second row, Tamika Catchings. Now I'm gonna say this with all sincerity. You two have not aged very much at all. Now I know there's some miles on the odometer for both of you that you've seen some things, you've done some things, including win gold together in 2004 with Team USA.
2004 and 2016. 2004, we were both on the floor.
You were players.
In 2016,
okay, so
Don was our assistant coach, so that was awesome.
All right, so tell me about the two experiences. One as a teammate and one when she was an assistant coach for you.
Well, it's interesting because 2004, I mean, that was my first experience. I remember watching the 96 Olympic team, and that was the first time that I saw, like, Dawn and Lisa and Cheryl, and I'm like, one day I want to play with them. Like, that was my dream, and the 96 Olympic team, and then fast forward and have the opportunity to join the 2002 World Championship team. Then we get to the Olympic team. But playing with Dawn, that's how I learned how to be a leader. You watch her on the bench and just her calm or not so calm demeanor at times. But that's how she was as a player. She's passionate about the game, passionate, perfectionist part of it. To me here is get to the basket. But her discipline, the way that she wanted us to play. But I think the great thing was that I learned from her was how to use my voice. She was so good at being able to use her voice and make sure that all the players were in the right position, what we were doing on the court, off the court, like everything aligned to being an Olympic team member, to winning gold medals.
That is her third.
Camila Cardozo at 6'7", came down on Harbison hard, who's going to stay in the game. And another foul. This is going to be on Watkins for South Carolina.
Ashlyn Watkins. That's her first, team second.
That's the first on Watkins. Two quick ones here in the quarter on South Carolina.
I saw Dawn down there at one point yelling and screaming. That's why I said the calm yet or not so calm demeanor at times. But I think the expectation is no matter who's out there on the floor, you want to start off the right way. And coming in having 2 fouls, by South Carolina, I'm sure that in her mind, it's like we're better than that.
Well, there's only one way to play. You know that playing for Pat Summitt. Shea Ralph knows that playing for Gino Auriemma. Dawn Staley knows that, coaching her team to 2 national championships and now trying to make it back-to-back national titles. And Camila Cardozo has had that look in her face a few times today. So that's going to be 4 on her. Harbison, the entry. Cardozo playing with the 4. Stands her ground and gets the rebound. Here comes Johnson. And a foul is going to be called on Al. I want to go back to something that's interesting. You found your voice. We see Tamika Catchings, this energetic, there's someone who's just, as a player, as a person, but there was a little bit of a reserved piece to you, a little bit of a shyness in some ways, and afraid to speak out and use that voice, wasn't there?
Well, I think it was more of like, as a player and even as a person, just watch me. Do as I do and don't worry, like I really didn't talk
nice
much.
move by Watkins inside.
Being born with a hearing disability and really not having a voice, not wanting to stand out and not want to be, even doing this at times, stuttering over your words, not being able to hear, not being able to do some of the things or say things quicker or where people can understand. And I think as a young person, we all want to fit in and we want to kind of just blend in with everybody else. Basketball allowed me the opportunity to just go and work. And so my thing was, just follow me as I work.
Your actions were going to be your words, but you learned that your words can be as impactful as your actions.
Well, watching her, I mean, you watch her and even having the opportunity to talk to her, she's very tight with her words. Not like she's just going to ramble on and say a lot of things like I think I do at times now. But, yeah, I think what she says is very impactful and influential, and especially early on for me.
Cardoso inside for two more.
By number 10, Camila Cardoso.
But I think the difference 2004 and then going to 2016, Eric, really.
Nice try by Harbison. She'll go to the line, shoot a couple. Go ahead.
Well, really just the opportunity to have her on as an assistant coach at that point in time. I didn't play a lot with that Olympic team, but
that was your fourth and final Olympics.
Fourth and final one, and I knew it.
You were on vapors. The tank was empty. You had given all you could, but you had enough to give for a fourth Olympic appearance.
But she would go to the gym with me, so we didn't have a lot of gym time, so I had to find other opportunities to get in the gym. So she would go, and then there was Ohima, who works with the New York Liberty now, but they would come and Dawn would put me through workouts because I was determined. I was like, I don't want, since I'm not playing a lot with the Olympic team, to get back to the WNBA and not be in tip-top shape. So I would go to the other side. One of our guys, one of the NBA guys, had their trainer. I would train with them in the morning. But
Dawn was there with you.
Well, I would train over there and do workouts like the weights and stuff.
Got you.
And then Dawn, we would go to the gym and she would put me through workouts. So being able, a lot of players sometimes get mad about not having playing time. But it's what are you doing with the time that you do have. So when you get on the court, you got to be ready to play. But on the other side, you got to get in the gym and get your extra work, get your extra shot, get in with one of the assistant coaches or a coach that will train you, and that's what I focused on.
Here is Harbison. Can't get it to go. Demi Washington with the rebound. Milestone watch is on right now for Kaija Harbison. She's 2 points shy of 2,000 in her career. First year with Vandy, number 2 all-time scoring list when she played for the St. Louis Billikens for 4 seasons. Johnson, ooh, beautiful little bounce pass. Give her the assist. The finish by Bree Hall. Gerard. LaChance gets it to go. Bella LaChance gets her first points.
So Vandy coming out, trying to put their foot on the gas, trying to get some more energy into this fourth quarter.
They have not had an answer here in the paint. Hall inside 2 more. 52 of the 84 points have come in the paint for South Carolina. Little hesitation. Gerard takes it at Cardoso with the 4 fouls, pulls back.
Oh, that's a great drive. I would just keep attacking. Attack mentality for Vanderbilt.
Johnson keeps that mentality, rolls off. Cardoso, no. Johnson, another putback. Second chance points. Big advantage. 18-1 is the advantage on second chance points for South Carolina tonight.
Well, Vanderbilt not doing a good job boxing out. Raven Johnson takes the shot, goes out of bounds, comes back into play, gets another rebound.
Looked like there was a trip, nothing called, and there's a trip there. No one around Bree Hall, and somehow she gets it to Watkins. And Amihir gets hammered. And Vandy wants to know, Gerard wants to know, where was the foul in the front court?
Well, she got tripped over here. Lost the ball. South Carolina on the run, and we know what happens when they go on the run.
Shea Ralph is going to take a timeout. I think she's sending the team to the bench, and she's looking for an explanation from our officials, which she'll get during this timeout. Inside of 6 to go in the 4th. Back inside Memorial Gymnasium, we talked about We Back Pat, and we've talked about the legacy and the Pat Summitt Foundation, but also, the coaching days, and there were head-to-head coaching matchups and coach-player matchups for Dawn Staley and Pat Summitt. Memorably, when Dawn was a player for Virginia, She was the most outstanding player. I'm going to tell you a big flex that Tamika just did a moment ago. But Tennessee won that championship. Dawn had 28 points. Pat Summitt's teams 10-2 all time against teams where Dawn was either playing or coaching. During the break, we looked at this graphic, and Tamika Catching says to me, I'm saying this, I'm sorry, I'm not trying to embarrass you. She goes, what's MOP? And I said, it was you your freshman year.
MVP.
You're MOP of the Final Four your freshman year. We called it most outstanding player.
Most outstanding player.
That was a big-time flex. What's MOP? I'm like, you.
Who came up with that? Most
I don't know. You won it.
I don't remember.
Shouldn't you know? Where's that trophy?
That was a long time ago. That was a long time ago.
Here's how good Tamika's memory is. I asked her today. I said, "Oh, you remember playing in this gym?" I have no recollection of playing in this gym.
I did not say that because our North Carolina game, my freshman year.
Oh, someone was on the internet looking these things up because I did not feel like that's how you were.
You asked me about
it.
last year. When's the last time we have broadcasted
as a player
in this gym?
Here in this gym? I thought I was going to have to.
We're on air right now.
Okay.
We can't be arguing.
The North Carolina game.
Freshman year when we almost lost that game.
1998.
Kelly Jolly, now Harper, slammed. We were right over there.
Okay.
On my right side, we're under Shea over there. We are on that side of the bench, and Kelly Jolly slammed the chair down. I remember this gym. I remember.
Just to be clear, Kelly Jolly, now Kelly Harper, the head coach of Tennessee. She could get a little fiery. You did not lose that game. You won that game 76-70. You went on to win the national championship. And do you know how many points you scored in the national championship game on your way to the MOP award?
I have no idea.
Give a guess.
15.
Every Tennessee fan who's watching you saying they're yelling at the TV, you scored 27 in the title game.
Well, I played terrible the game before. Well, I remember that. I played terrible before the game before. I remember Coach Brown coming up to me and saying, "You're going to be awful in the last game." And I remember saying to him, I just looked at him. I'm a little freshman. South Carolina. Vanderbilt had 3 offensive players back there. South Carolina almost got the steal.
There comes Harbison. Harbison takes it to the basket, and it's blocked by Amihir. The block shots continue to add up for South Carolina. That's 13 blocks now for Carolina.
Well, I think Harbison's trying to get into the body. She needs to go either around her to the other side and get a reverse layup in, or just keep the ball alive and dribble. And she's trying to get called for the fouls.
Chambers.
Like that.
Yeah, she got it done. Yabrion Chambers gets the basket. Her first points of the game.
Yeah, I got permission today to call her Ya, so I'm going to call her Ya.
That was cleared by Ya herself?
That's what she said.
Okay, good. Chloe Kitt's back on the floor for South Carolina. Here's Amihir. Batted away by Jada Brown. And that will get us to our media timeout. Comes with 4:34 to go in the fourth quarter. Tamika Catchings, MOP of the Final Four in '98. We'll be back with more stories from her playing days next. Charlie Cream's bracketology right now has 8 SEC teams in the field. Of note, South Carolina, of course, #1 undefeated. LSU is undefeated, but right now they're projected as a #2 seed. Their strength of schedule has not been great. Their net number is great. It's one of the factors of 14 that are looked at. This is an important game for LSU tonight because they take on Arkansas for a second time. Arkansas is a good team. They're a top 50 team, so that would help LSU if they're able to pull that out. Arkansas is a team that would love to get a little payback after losing in Fayetteville, so you'll see that coming up top of the hour in Baton Rouge. LSU 18-0 taking on 16-3 Arkansas. Cardoso out of the timeout, can't get it to drop, and it's a rebound for Chambers.
Well, Cardoso continues to get some really good looks around the basket, not able to finish 3 for 9 right now.
She does have 12 rebounds to go with her 8 points. Zia Cook with 17 to lead the way for South Carolina. Brown can't get it. Cardoso's got rebound number 13. Aaliyah Boston, a double-double, 16 points, 10 rebounds, a perfect 8 for 8 from the field tonight for South Carolina. Gamecocks on their way to their 19th win of the season. Tie-up will keep it with South Carolina.
Well, Watkins gets the ball down low. She's trying to do too much with it. She had 3 defenders on at that time. Got to make sure you get the ball out.
Back out top to Kitts. Defended by Harbison. Bree Hall. Hall spinning, floating, scoring.
Number 23.
Oh, so good tonight, just attacking the basket.
Number 12, Demi Washington.
Demi Washington answers for Vandy. Watkins. Tough pass, and it's going to be a foul, the push on Gerard.
Fouls on 14.
That's her 3rd personal foul.
That is her 3rd.
Trying to be aggressive on the line. It's a little bit too aggressive.
Olivia Thompson at 35.
14 fouls now on Vanderbilt. 9 of Gerard's 13 came in the first half. Here is Demi Washington back the other way for 2.
Number 12, Demi Washington.
Olivia Thompson is into the game for South Carolina as we approach 3 minutes to go in the 4th. South Carolina closed the first quarter on a 10-0 run to lead 18-9. They were up 28 at halftime and stretched it out to a 44-point lead after 3. Good finish by the freshman Kitts.
Number 21, Chloe Kitts.
South Carolina has so many different weapons. Sasha Washington trying to get a look. Cardoso with the block.
Another block for South Carolina. Hall has it knocked away by Harbison. Good defensive play by Kaja Harbison. Question now for Vandy. Can Harbison get to 2,000? She looks for the assist instead. Good unselfish play. And a foul is called in the backcourt on South Carolina.
Fouls on 35, Sasha Washington. That's her
Correction,
second.
Washington gets called for the foul.
Team's 5th. South Carolina.
So Sasha Washington will check out. A reminder coming up next, Arkansas, 3rd-ranked LSU in Baton Rouge, top of the hour. When we're done here, get you to the studio, and then they'll get you to the matchup with LSU, winners of 18 in a row. Angel Reese averaging 23 and 15. Oh, correction, she went for 23 and 15 against Auburn for her 18th double-double. Here's a me here.
South Carolina just so dominant. I mean, you look at all the players that are out there. The only one, Thompson, just checked in, and the only player that has not scored thus far, but everybody else has scored. So they're getting up and down the floor, finding the open players, moving the basketball, playing great defensively.
On the back cut, a me here gets called for the foul.
Fouls on 15.
Well, of course, it's the big question. I think Dawn Staley gets asked it after every game, before every game by people like us. It's like, how do you keep everybody happy when you've got 14? Tonight you've got 12 because of the 2 injuries. How do you keep everybody happy? And things work themselves out in practice. Again, we talked about no one averaging more than 25 minutes a game for South Carolina. Look at Aaliyah Boston tonight. She played 22 minutes. You're not going to pile up big individual numbers, but you look at the scoreboard and you pile up wins, and that's the most important thing for this program.
Well, you pile up wins, and I think the ultimate goal is to win a national championship, right? So whatever it takes for the success of your team, and granted, majority of these players are used to playing. I mean, Coach Staley will say, like, they're used to playing a lot of minutes, and I think being able to sacrifice for the good of the team is important. But yet, you talked about Aaliyah Boston, and she still has a double-double. Cardoso in there got really good numbers. Hall has played some really good minutes and done some great things. So down the line, every single player. And Thompson, who Cardoso just hit the shot, but Thompson, who just subbed in is a walk-on. She got a scholarship a couple years ago, so like being able to have opportunity to get in the game is important.
10 points, 15 rebounds now for Cardoso off the bench. And Shea Ralph's going to take a 30-second timeout here with 1:19 to go. Next up for Vandy, they will be at Florida on Sunday. Florida fell to Tennessee tonight, 74-56. So Florida's lost 4 in a row. Tennessee's won 8 in a row. They've been on a run. Rakia Jackson went for 16 tonight. So that will be next for Vanderbilt. Gators are the team that knocked them out of the SEC tournament here in Nashville last March. And next up for South Carolina, they'll host Arkansas on Sunday again. You can see on ESPN2. And as we know, down the road for South Carolina, they're at UConn February 5th. They've got LSU at home February 12th. They still have trips to Ole Miss and Tennessee to come in February. I think everybody's circling that February 12th game. Reese and Boston, the double-double queens. Angel Reese, you see her numbers 24 and 15. That is up and in. Harbison gets there. 2,000 career points for Kaija Harbison for Vandy. Went for 1688 at St. Louis, and she has been a scorer here in the SEC as well.
Well, I love it too, and attacking the basket, always going in toward the basket, trying to get the ball up and able to finish, get to the free throw line, finish with the and one.
So congratulations to the grad student from Louisville. She's had some big games this year. She's gone for 34 against NC State, 27 against Tennessee. Held in check here today by South Carolina.
Well, held in check. She got 9. She had 9 points. She shot 3 for 15. But I think one of the things you have to recognize is South Carolina. She was on South Carolina's game plan. They wanted to shut her down. She was one of the players that they were going to focus on between her and Gerard. I mean, so you look at the numbers, and Gerard, 13 points right now, has better scoring performance. But those are the two players that South Carolina focused on early. And you look at the score, they got down. Vanderbilt got down pretty early, but congratulations to this young lady.
(2001) points in her career. Tracked down by Demi Washington. Final minute here in Nashville. South Carolina will improve to 19-0, 7-0 in the SEC. The winning streak will stretch to 25. LSU, we'll see if they can keep pace atop the SEC standings. Coming up at the top of the hour. Good finish by Gerard. 15 points to pace Vanderbilt tonight. Coming off that 31-point performance against Arkansas when she made 7 threes. Shot clock is turned off. South Carolina will dribble out the clock. Another impressive performance for the #1 team in the country.
Well, they continue to tell you and show you why they are so dominant. From 1 to 12, everybody that came in scored. Well, 11 out of the 12 scored. They continue to show just how dominant they are inside and out. 30 points in the paint, both halves for South Carolina. Absolutely unbelievable.
There's a little, should we hug, should we shake? Yes, let's do it. And they will shake hands at midcourt. South Carolina wins it by 48, 96-48 the final. Gamecocks 7-0 in the SEC as they continue to roll. Aaliyah Boston with another double-double, 16 and 10, 8 for 8 from the field. For Tamika and our crew, I'm Eric. Thanks for being with us. So long from Nashville.
Bree Beal, as we welcome her into the show. Bree, congratulations on yet another win. Thanks for giving us a few minutes of your time. I want to start with the mentality of this team. You guys make it look so easy, night in and night out. What do you tell each other before a game like this on the road in the SEC to make sure the motivation is always as high as it is?
I think definitely that every game matters. No matter who we play, we have to, want to play them more than, they want to play us. Zaya mentioned, the other day. So I think just having, dog mentality is what we say, coming out and competing every single time.
Bree, that dog mentality that you're talking about, does it come from you? Who does it come from?
I definitely think it definitely comes from our, defensive side in general. But, it definitely comes with the leaders, the seniors. We lead our young ones and, to be able to play and perform games like this. So it definitely comes from the older group.
Bree, I want to talk about your offense because, everybody talks about your defense, and I love defense, and I love that side of your game. Last season, you made 15 threes at 24%. This season, if you include the one you made today, you've already made 18 threes at 40%. How would you describe the work that you have put in to knock down those threes consistently this year? Because it's been impressive.
I think just thinking, throughout, it's been 4 years, and, where do I want to be, next year? Do I want to give myself a chance to compete at a pro level? So I think it just starts with that, summer, getting in shots day in, day out, asking coach, what do I need to do to become a pro and practice pro habits? So I think it's just a lot of, assessing myself and seeing what I need to do.
Bree, this team has been so successful, so dominant in this season. You guys are the reigning national champions. What keeps this team in particular grounded and humble?
I think, just going back to, especially for the seniors, the games we lost out of those 3 prior years, the feeling we felt in, certain situations, especially when it came to, our sophomore year, that Final Four game, or, SEC championship last year, just thinking about those and how it didn't feel good. And I think just, that relates to, playing every game our hardest and not leaving anything left.
Bree, we've seen so much from you and Zaya and LA and Aaliyah, but we also have seen a lot from the younger players this season, right? Between Raven, we've got some time with Chloe and Ashlyn. And when you look at those younger players, now that you're a veteran, what do you see in the future of this program? What do the young players do for this team?
I think, day in, day out, I see how knowledgeable they are. They want to stay after practice and get shots up, get free throws in, watch film. They're always, especially on the road, they'll ask or text one of the senior groups to, hey, can we come in your room? Can we watch film? Or can you go through the playbook with me? Just, seeing that and hearing that, this is going to be a great group for years to come.
Well, Bree, congratulations on yet another win. We can't wait to see what you guys do for the rest of conference play. Safe travels getting back home.
Thank you, guys.